Taiwan, a tiny island with a population of just 23 million, yet it stands as a global economic powerhouse. How did this happen? How did a war-torn land, once struggling for survival, transform into the beating heart of the global tech industry? Most people assume Taiwan's success is purely about technology, semiconductors, electronics, and a booming manufacturing sector, but that's only half the story. There is a hidden factor behind Taiwan's meteoric rise, one that most people overlook. And by the end of this video, you will see why it might be the single most important reason Taiwan became an economic giant. So let's rewind the clock and uncover the journey of Taiwan from humble beginnings to a global powerhouse. In the aftermath of World War II, Taiwan was in ruins, scarred by years of Japanese rule and then caught in the crossfire of the Chinese Civil War. The island's future seemed anything but promising. Resources were scarce, industries were practically non-existent, and political uncertainty loomed over its people. But history has a way of surprising us. Taiwan was about to embark on one of the most remarkable economic transformations the world had ever seen. The first step toward recovery came from an unlikely source: foreign aid. The United States, eager to contain communism in Asia, saw Taiwan as a critical ally. Between the late 1940s and 1960s, billions of dollars in financial and technical assistance flowed into the country. This support wasn't just about survival, it was about laying the groundwork for something bigger. Roads, power plants, and factories were built, creating the foundation for an industrial economy. But Taiwan didn't just rely on handouts. Its leaders knew that real progress would come from within. Under the guidance of the government, a strategic shift took place. The island moved away from its traditional agrarian roots and focused on manufacturing. At first, it was small-scale industries, textiles, plastics, and simple consumer goods. These were cheap to produce and easy to export, bringing in much-needed foreign currency. Yet, what truly set Taiwan apart was its workforce. Hardworking, disciplined, and eager to seize new opportunities, Taiwanese laborers played a crucial role in this transformation. Wages were low, but instead of trapping the economy in poverty, this cost advantage made Taiwan highly competitive in global markets. Foreign investors took notice, and soon, multinational companies were setting up factories, turning Taiwan into a hub for production. By the 1970s, the island was no longer just a supplier of cheap goods. It had developed a full-fledged export-oriented economy with industries scaling up rapidly. The government played a key role implementing policies that encouraged businesses to innovate and improve efficiency. Special economic zones were established, offering tax incentives to attract more foreign investment. The result, Taiwan became known as one of the original four Asian tigers, alongside Hong Kong, Singapore, and South Korea, nations that defied the odds and achieved rapid economic success. However, this rise wasn't without sacrifice. Long working hours, strict labor conditions, and the immense pressure to succeed became a way of life. But for Taiwan, it was a price worth paying. The island had gone from a struggling post-war state to a thriving economic model admired across the world. And yet, this was just the beginning. Taiwan had built the foundation, but the real leap was yet to come. The shift from basic manufacturing to high-tech innovation was about to reshape its destiny forever. By the late 20th century, Taiwan had established itself as a manufacturing powerhouse, but producing low-cost goods could only take the island so far. Competition was growing, wages were rising, and staying ahead meant something more: innovation. Taiwan needed to move beyond assembly lines and into the future. The government understood this shift and took decisive action. Instead of relying on foreign technology, Taiwan invested heavily in its own capabilities. Education became a top priority. Schools and universities expanded programs in engineering, science, and business, creating a new generation of skilled professionals. Research institutions like the Industrial Technology Research Institute (ITRI) were established to bridge the gap between academic knowledge and practical industry needs. The goal was clear: Taiwan would no longer just manufacture products, it would design and develop them. This strategy paid off in ways few could have predicted. In the 1980s, a single company emerged that would change Taiwan's fate forever. Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing Company, better known as TSMC. At a time when semiconductor production was largely controlled by a handful of firms in the US and Japan, Taiwan made a bold move. Instead of trying to compete directly, TSMC pioneered the concept of a dedicated foundry, manufacturing chips for companies that designed them but lacked production facilities. It was a game changer. Tech giants from around the world, including Apple, Nvidia, and Qualcomm, soon relied on Taiwan to produce the most advanced microchips on the planet. As TSMC rose to dominance, a culture of innovation took root across the island. Encouraged by government support and access to cutting-edge research, Taiwanese entrepreneurs began building their own tech firms. Companies like ASUS, Acer, and MediaTek emerged, making Taiwan a leader in personal computing, telecommunications, and consumer electronics. What had once been a nation known for producing cheap goods had now become the backbone of the global technology industry. But innovation wasn't just happening in corporate boardrooms. The government actively encouraged risk-taking, offering grants and incentives to startups working on everything from artificial intelligence to biotechnology. Business incubators and accelerators sprang up, giving young entrepreneurs the resources and mentorship needed to turn ideas into reality. Unlike other economies that relied solely on large conglomerates, Taiwan fostered a dynamic ecosystem where small and medium-sized enterprises thrived alongside industry giants. This relentless drive for progress wasn't just about economic gain, it was about survival. Taiwan's geographic and political realities meant it had to stay ahead of the curve. Falling behind wasn't an option, and so the island continued to push boundaries, securing its place as an indispensable player in the world of high-tech innovation. Yet, as Taiwan cemented its role at the heart of global technology, new challenges were emerging on the horizon. Economic crisis, geopolitical tensions, and an increasingly competitive world meant that adaptation was more critical than ever. The question wasn't whether Taiwan could innovate, but whether it could remain resilient in the face of uncertainty. Success never comes without challenges, and Taiwan's rise was no exception. The island had built a strong economy, but maintaining that momentum required constant adaptation. As global markets shifted, crises struck, and geopolitical tensions intensified, Taiwan had to prove time and time again that resilience was in its DNA. One of the first major tests came in 1997 when the Asian financial crisis sent shockwaves through economies across the region. Stock markets crashed, currencies collapsed, and once thriving nations found themselves in turmoil. But Taiwan managed to weather the storm better than most. Unlike many of its neighbors, it had maintained strict financial regulations and limited exposure to risky foreign debt. The government acted swiftly, stabilizing the banking sector and ensuring businesses could stay afloat. While others struggled to recover, Taiwan emerged stronger, proving that careful economic planning could shield it from global downturns. But financial crises weren't the only challenges Taiwan faced. A much larger shift was taking place, one that would redefine its place in the global economy. As the 21st century began, China was rising at an unprecedented pace. Its massive labor force, rapid industrialization, and aggressive economic policies made it the new manufacturing hub of the world. Suddenly, Taiwan found itself in a delicate position. China was both its biggest economic competitor and, at the same time, an essential trade partner. Taiwanese companies eager to cut costs and expand began moving factories to the mainland. Investment flowed across the strait, deepening economic ties between the two. But this interdependence came with risks. Political tensions between Taiwan and China had always been high, and relying too much on a single market posed a threat. If relations soured, Taiwan's economy could suffer severe consequences. Recognizing this vulnerability, Taiwan began taking steps to diversity. It sought stronger trade relationships with nations beyond China, strengthening ties with the United States, Japan, and Southeast Asia. Free trade agreements were pursued, and supply chains were restructured to ensure that Taiwan wasn't overly dependent on any single country. At the same time, the government encouraged businesses to invest in high-tech industries and research-driven sectors, further securing Taiwan's position as an innovation leader rather than just a manufacturing base. Yet, the global landscape continued to shift. The COVID-19 pandemic exposed just how fragile supply chains could be, and Taiwan found itself at the center of a new economic battle, the global semiconductor race. As countries scrambled to secure chip production, Taiwan's dominance in the industry became both a strength and a potential risk. Governments around the world, especially the US, pushed for semiconductor manufacturing to be spread out rather than concentrated in one place. Once again, Taiwan had to adapt, balancing its technological edge with the need to maintain economic security. Through every crisis, every shift, Taiwan has remained agile, proving that its success isn't just about innovation, it's about the ability to evolve. But as the world becomes even more uncertain, the next question is clear. Can Taiwan continue to stay ahead, securing its place in the future of the global economy? Taiwan's economic rise wasn't just the result of innovation and hard work. It was also shaped by its ability to form strategic alliances. In an interconnected world, no country thrives in isolation. Recognizing this early on, Taiwan actively built relationships with key global players, ensuring its place in the international economic landscape. The United States has long been one of Taiwan's most crucial partners. From the early days of economic aid to the present, Washington has played a pivotal role in Taiwan's development. Over time, the relationship evolved from financial support to a mutually beneficial trade partnership. The US became one of Taiwan's largest export markets, especially for high-tech products like semiconductors and consumer electronics. In return, American businesses gained access to Taiwan's advanced manufacturing capabilities, particularly in the chip industry, which powers everything from smartphones to fighter jets. Japan, too, has been a key ally. The historical ties between the two go back decades, and despite past conflicts, economic cooperation flourished. Taiwanese businesses adopted many of Japan's industrial strategies, including its focus on precision manufacturing and quality control. In turn, Japan became a major investor in Taiwan, helping to expand industries such as automotive components, robotics, and clean energy. The bond between the two economies remains strong, with both nations benefiting from shared technology and trade. Europe, though geographically distant, has also recognized Taiwan's economic importance. European nations rely on Taiwan for critical components in industries ranging from telecommunications to medical devices. In response, Taiwan has actively pursued trade agreements and partnerships, strengthening its presence in the region. While political challenges sometimes limit official recognition, economic ties have only grown deeper. But Taiwan's diplomatic strategy goes beyond just securing markets. Free trade agreements have been a crucial tool in expanding its global reach. Despite facing diplomatic isolation from many international bodies due to political tensions, Taiwan has managed to negotiate trade deals that enhance its economic standing. Agreements with nations in Southeast Asia, Latin America, and beyond have allowed Taiwanese businesses to expand globally, reducing reliance on any single market. Taiwan's participation in international organizations, though sometimes limited, has also been a cornerstone of its diplomatic approach. It has actively engaged in global trade forums, technology summits, and economic council, proving itself as a valuable contributor to the world economy. Even without full membership in some institutions, Taiwan has found ways to make its voice heard, particularly in industries where it holds undeniable influence. Perhaps most importantly, Taiwan has positioned itself as an irreplaceable link in global supply chains. In a world where technological advancement depends on precision and reliability, Taiwan has built a reputation for both. Companies and governments alike recognize that its expertise in semiconductor production, industrial automation, and renewable energy makes it a partner that cannot afford to overlook. Through careful diplomacy and strategic alliances, Taiwan has not only secured its economic future but also cemented its role as a trusted player on the global stage. However, as competition intensifies and geopolitical uncertainties persist, the challenge remains. How will Taiwan continue to strengthen these partnerships while navigating the ever-changing global order? Taiwan's economic journey has been remarkable, but its true challenge lies ahead. How to sustain its growth in an increasingly competitive and unpredictable world. With emerging economies racing to catch up and global markets shifting rapidly, Taiwan must evolve to stay ahead. The road forward is clear. Embrace sustainability, invest in next-generation industries, and solidify its status as a global leader in technology and innovation. One of the cornerstones of Taiwan's future vision is sustainable development. The island nation, despite its industrial prowess, is heavily dependent on imported energy. Recognizing the risks of this reliance, Taiwan is making bold strides toward clean energy. Investments in solar, wind, and hydroelectric power are growing, with ambitious targets set for reducing carbon emissions and increasing energy independence. Offshore wind farms now line its coasts, while advancements in battery storage and smart grids aim to create a more resilient power network. At the heart of this transformation is technology. Taiwan isn't just adopting renewable energy, it's innovating within the sector. Companies are developing cutting-edge energy solutions from high-efficiency solar panels to AI-driven energy management systems. This not only strengthens Taiwan's own infrastructure but also positions it as a leader in green technology exports, opening doors to lucrative markets worldwide. Beyond energy, Taiwan's future hinges on maintaining its dominance in high-tech industries. The world already relies on Taiwan's semiconductor industry, but the competition is intensifying. Countries like the US, China, and South Korea are aggressively investing in chip manufacturing, aiming to reduce their dependence on foreign suppliers. To stay ahead, Taiwan must continue pushing boundaries in semiconductor innovation, focusing on next-generation chips for AI, quantum computing, and advanced robotics. But staying competitive isn't just about semiconductors. Taiwan is fostering new industries from biotechnology to space technology. Investments in medical research and pharmaceutical development aim to make Taiwan a hub for healthcare innovation, while emerging space startups are exploring satellite production and aerospace engineering. The government is also encouraging AI research, smart automation, and cybersecurity, ensuring Taiwan remains at the cutting edge of technological advancement. However, technology alone isn't enough. Taiwan's vision for the future is also rooted in its people. Education, already a key pillar of its success, is evolving to equip the next generation with skills suited for a digital future. Programs focused on coding, artificial intelligence, and entrepreneurship are expanding, ensuring that Taiwan's workforce remains one of the most skilled and adaptable in the world. Yet, challenges remain. As global tensions rise and economic uncertainties grow, Taiwan must carefully navigate its diplomatic and trade relationships. Diversification is key, reducing reliance on any single market while strengthening economic ties with nations that align with its vision for innovation and sustainability. The coming decades will test Taiwan's resilience, but if history has proven anything, it's that this small island has an extraordinary ability to reinvent itself. With a clear commitment to sustainability, cutting-edge technology, and global leadership, Taiwan is not just preparing for the future, it is shaping it. The question is, will the world be ready to keep up?